Now let us see how actually we can read data from a file. Now, while reading data from a text file, we are allowed to use 4 different categories of method that is called read. Now, when I'm writing read without any parameters, it is going to allow me to read the complete data from the file. Irrespective of how many lines of text are available within a file, I can read the complete data from the beginning to the ending. Now, read of n. So here n is nothing but a numeric argument, an integer, which is going to specify from the beginning how many characters do you want to read. Suppose I have given the read of 10, which means from the beginning I am going to retrieve only 10 characters, which include spaces also. Now read line, as the name indicates, is it allows me to read only one line at a time. Suppose a file has 10 lines and we have opened the file in read mode. As we know, the file pointer or the file object will be at the beginning. So read line is going to fetch me only that first line that we have opened the file. Now coming to the read lines is going to read all the lines that are present in the file. But read lines always returns a list. I mean all the lines, suppose there are 5 lines in a program file. So each of the line, and first line will be the first item of the list, second line will be the second item of the list. Like that, it is going to return me a list of items where all items are nothing but the lines that we have. Now let's deep dive into the various formats of read method. The very first one. So where I'm using read method without any parameter. So as we said already, the read method without any parameter is going to read the complete content of a file. So here we try to open a file like file01.txt, and the mode is obviously the read mode, that is R. And here we have called the read method by using this file object, and the entire content is being taken up and stored inside the variable data, which later on we are trying to print on the screen with the help of print followed by data, and as recommended we are trying to close the file. Now the second format of read, where we are supposed to pass an integer value which is going to tell us how many characters from the beginning we would like to read. Again, I'm taking the same file, opening in the file in the read mode, but this time the read method has been passed with an integer value, that is 5. So this 5 indicates that we are going to read only the first 5 characters of the content of the file, and that is being stored inside this variable data, which later on we are showing on the screen, and of course we are closing the file at the end. So read line is the another format where it is going to read the complete line. Assuming we have some set of lines available in a file, I want to read one line, so I can take the help of read line, and I'm storing this in a variable line1, so which is going to read the, get the line 1 of the file and prints the same line. So here I'm assuming that because whenever we open a file for reading, obviously the file object is at the beginning of the file, hence it is going to read only the first line. So later part of the file handling, we will let you know how exactly the file pointer object can be placed at a particular point so that a particular line can be read. But as of now, because while you open a file in read mode, by default the file pointer or the file object will be at the first character of the entire file. Hence, read line is going to fetch us only the first line present in that particular file. Now the last format of reading a file is read lines. So as we said already, read lines is going to bring all the lines present in a file and is going to store in a form of list. So now after opening this file, now when I'm calling this read lines method, so this lines is nothing but going to be a list where each of the item is nothing but an individual line that is present within the file. So if read lines have, suppose the file 01.txt has some 5 lines, so these lines will be behaving like a list holding 5 items where each item is one list. So first item will be the first line, second item will be the second line, and so on. Now I'm just trying to take the help of a for loop here to traverse the elements of this particular list. So line in this lines list, I'm just trying to print this line so that each line can be printed. Now after the end of this for loop, I could reach, I can find all the lines of the file being displayed, and of course towards the end we are closing it. So let's assume this is file 01.txt where you can find there are 3 lines. First line is holding some welcome, second line is holding some queue, and third line having code quest. Now this is the file which I'm going to utilize for various format of read operation. Now the first format where we are trying to open this file 01.txt, and of course we are going to use the R mode. Now here we are calling the read method without any parameters here, which is going to read the entire content present in the file and is being stored inside the variable data. Now when I'm trying to print data, I'm going to get the complete content of this particular file, and later on we are just closing it. So now when I run this program, so we will be able to get the entire content of this particular file. Now, if I'm going to change this, let's say I'm going to make it 5. So once the read method has been passed an integer value, these many characters from the beginning of the file will be read by it. So now when we check this, we will be getting the result like, you can see we are getting the first 5 characters of that particular file 01.txt. Now we have modified this read of 5 with read line. So read line is going to read one line at a time, because after opening this file, the file pointer is at the beginning of the file. Hence read line is going to read me the first line of the entire file. So which is being stored inside the variable data, which later on we are displaying it. So now when I run this, I'll be getting the first line printed over here. Now the fourth way of reading the content of a file is by taking the help of read lines. So read lines, it is going to return a list which is going to carry, the list is going to carry the set of items where each item represents one line. First item represents the first line, second one represents the second line, and so on. Now once we have prepared this list, by taking the help of a for loop, we are just trying to traverse the items of a list and printing it. Now if I simply start writing print line here, so we know that print automatically going to add an additional line here /n. Hence all the content that I have, suppose there are 3 lines present in it, so I'll be getting is 1 line gap between each of the lines. Okay, so let's run this. So you can observe there is a space between each of the line, but this is not originally present in the given file. So we do not have any space between this first line and second line within my file. So in order to get the original content of the file without having this additional blank line here, so we have to take the help of the endl. Now here I can add end attribute and I can just close it with a space. So now each line is going to appear without having a new line. So this is exactly what we have inside my file, the content.